Come ring in the new year in Denver. Celebrate with parties, champagne toasts, live music, and dazzling fireworks. Plan your celebration and find great hotel packages at milehighholidays.com/NYE.
This episode is brought to you by Let's Productions. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. See you there.
My name is Terry Lynch. I'm with Oregon Ufology. I found myself searching for a passageway one day. And that passageway leads right across the complete section of the Cascades, which I'm sitting in front of at the moment. On top of Lime Peak. I want to make sure that everybody sees the type of things that we find in the process of research for ufology. I have located a couple that's sitting here on the top of Lime Peak. She's facing south. He's facing north.
The Middle, Cascadia Guides, a Let's production, in conjunction with Alien Strand Films. Alien Strand Podcast.
Hi, this is ASDP ufologist Jody Brown from Arizona, and you are watching Alien Strand Podcast with host Donald Ledesma.
AlienStrand.com, the official website.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Don Ledesma, and welcome to today's show. It's going to be a good one, man. I missed you guys. I haven't been on live for, I don't know, I guess since last week. I kind of just feel like, it needs to be done a lot more, you know what I mean? But right now we are live on Facebook, a bunch of platforms, right? We are live on YouTube. Thank you for that. We're live on X. We're live all over the place. And we are actually live on audio right now. So if you go to Spreaker, if you have a Spreaker app, or even Spotify, I believe, it shows that we are live right now on this podcast. So thank you guys for joining me here today. I got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. And, I try to keep everything, interesting, right? Just try to keep it super interesting for you guys, because I know that it's a lot of information that I'm trying to put out to you guys all in one shot, right? So, but thank you guys for joining the show today. I really appreciate it. And hey, man, I hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving. I hope you guys ate yourselves a bunch of Thanksgiving food, and I hope you guys are gaining weight just like my ass is. Oh, excuse my French, but that's exactly what's happening today, So, I love pecan pie. Man, who don't love pecan pie? Man, my wife bought this pecan pie, and she goes, "You want some pie? Want some pie?" And I'm like, no, yeah, no, yeah. And you know what? I finished it off. I polished it off today. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take those last two pieces, put some Cool Whip on it. Bam, it's over. So if you guys' refrigerators are full right now, it's time to start throwing that stuff away, all right? And give it to the dog, give it to yourself, get rid of it, be done. You know why? Because Christmas is coming. You guys are going to start making hams and all that good stuff, tamales, all that good stuff that's coming along, Today we have Sue Harrison. Thank you for watching tonight on YouTube. We have Ryan Keaton tonight on YouTube. We have, Sue Harrison again. Thank you. There's a lot I want to talk about tonight, and I couldn't do this without you guys. And, it's just... It's always my pleasure to put all this stuff out for you guys. But I'm excited. Can you tell? If you haven't got our Patreon, go to our Patreon. Come and join us, man. Just like Dr. Evil says, join us, man. It's $5 a month, and then we have a free one too. So if you join, you just download the Patreon app, right? And it's free. Just download it. Search for Alien Strand Podcast. Follow us there, or if you want to pay $5 a month to become a member, thank you for that. This helps go a long way, and it helps push these podcasts out to a bunch of folks out there, and we try to get as much information as possible to you guys, but thank you, and a lot of perks come with Patreons, just being a paid member, right? So, we did have this last podcast called Lights in the Sky, and this one was with Miss Elizabeth Jeffries. There's a surprise at the end of that, so if you watch this episode on Patreon, we just put it out for free for everybody today, okay? So it's actually... It was only for private members. It was up there for about 4 days. And you know what? There's a lot of good information in here. I'm going to just go ahead and release this one to everybody. So I think we have maybe 20 subscribers, the general free ones, and, mixed together. But come on, let's get 100 in there, man. I want you guys to just follow me here, and, so I released it to you guys, and I put it out for free. So if you guys are part of Alien Strand Podcast, they're on extras on Patreon. Join us there, okay? So there's a free one there too. So hey, everything comes with perks, right? So she came out in the middle. All right, so she's in the documentary, the first documentary, the middle, with Mr. Terry Lynch's story out there. You know what? Guess what we did? We ended up, after we did the podcast, with Miss Elizabeth Jeffries there, I talked to Terry, I talked to her, I talked to a lot of people, and I said, you know what? I am going to go ahead, and just try to get as much help to you guys, and I'm giving a lot of shirts away for free, and there's a lot of nice perks in this Patreon deal, so please join us there on the Patreon. If you're watching today, if you're listening to us, we have some white shirts with some really cool designs on it with aliens and stuff on it. If you join Patreon with us there, I'm going to try to get you guys free shirts. I'm getting those made. Thanksgiving, a lot of things get backed up just like everything else, right? But, like I said, Catch the Middle. It's still on Amazon Prime without commercials, things like that. But, we went ahead and added it. It's not just on Tubi TV and TCL channel. You can catch it free there. But we actually put it on our YouTube channel, man. So if you go to our YouTube there on Alien Strand Podcast, search Alien Strand Podcast, please. And the only reason I did is, the only thing I asked in return on this, if you watch the film, please like and subscribe before you hit the play button. I really would appreciate that, and that helps go a long way, to try to get all this information out to you guys as much as possible. Now, this film, it's the first day I put it out, it's got over like 200 something hits, and I just put it out there like a day ago, right? So it's doing very well. If you guys want to watch the first movie, The Middle, you can go to our YouTube channel. It's for free, man. Go check it out. I don't think there's no commercials on it right now, so go watch it right now. That's the best time to check it out. And we, like I said, me and Terry, everybody appreciates you guys for just kind of getting on board with that. Now, of course, The Middle 2. It's already uploaded to my sites at my distributor. I'm just getting the big okay to go ahead and put it on Amazon Prime. So you'll be seeing this film on Amazon Prime. The Middle Part 2, CE3. So get ready for that. You can check our trailers on there. Now, if you watch the movie The Middle on our YouTube channel, you'll see the trailer for this film, okay? So make sure you go check that out and watch to the very end of the credits. I really like people to go to the end of the credits and check it out because it gives you a lot more information at the end, all right? Please go do that. We just, like I said, we try to do everything as much as possible. Follow us on Alien Strand Disclosure Project. They're on Facebook. We appreciate each and every one of you guys out there. We just try to get a lot of this information out, man. Today, I was going to do this podcast by myself on Bigfoot and a lot of good things that are going to be coming out here soon. Now, I got some videos to show on some UFOs, and I actually have a video on Sasquatch, and I'm going to kind of talk about Sasquatch a little bit as well. So, today, we hadn't done it in a while. We've been so busy. But we're gonna bring on Mr. Terry Lynch today. He's sitting in the background. I called him up at the last minute, and I said, "Hey, man, you want to join me on this podcast?" And you know what? Blam! There he is. So let's go ahead and grab him on the show right now, and let's see how he's doing right now.
Hey, everybody! Welcome from the Middle, Central Oregon.
Right on, brother. Right on. Thank you for last minute thing with me and being on the show.
Anytime.
Yeah, man. I always appreciate you being on the show and chiming in on a lot of things that we have to talk about. Now, I've been wanting to talk about Bigfoot for a long time, because it's a subject that I kind of I enjoy, not kind of, but I do enjoy. And you don't see too much on it, right? There's not so much.
No.
You really have to look for things out there. And I went to a web page and I searched for recent Bigfoot sightings, right? Things like that. And it brought me out this huge map, right? And guess where this sighting map was located? That's right.
Right here in my neighborhood.
That's right, brother. That's where it's at, right in Oregon. So, there was so many recent Bigfoot sightings there. Now, have you had any information or has anybody been out there kind of giving you anything on Bigfoot since you've been out here since the last time we talked?
Well, no, I really haven't heard much about it and my location in a while, but I do know that my location, remember the Wendigo Trail when we went up there?
Right.
Come ring in the new year in Denver. Celebrate with parties, champagne toasts, live music, and dazzling fireworks. Plan your celebration and find great hotel packages at milehighholidays.com/NYE.
That is a very big hot spot for them. It's all the way from what they call the Wendigo Pass,
right,
which is over by Willamette Pass, and it goes all the way up to Mount Jefferson. And this in particular trail, which is also the Wendigo Trail, that would be a location that the Native Americans would put postings along the side, letting you know this is what's in the area. They called them the Wendigo. They called them Bigfoot. They have different stories. When people saw it, they saw different things. Sometimes they'd see it with antlers on its head. And it was a cannibal, which is what we discussed in the middle one. However, the entirety of the area, these Native Americans from here all the way over to Paulina Peak and way beyond, they all have a different story about this individual, and they never leave the bones of their dead. You never see any more than a sighting of them. And if a person did manage to see this guy, they either got away or they didn't get away.
Right.
And the ones that did get away, we got stories about that. The ones that didn't get away disappear. They're gone.
Wow.
This is one of those things that when you're in the Northwest or even Australia, the UE, that's what they call them there, or the skunk ape of the South, or the abominable snowman.
Right.
This right here, this is something that's just as documented as every UFO that we've ever documented.
Right.
And there's people that talk about him everywhere. I'm looking forward to meeting one. And if you remember, I have my own security just for this reason.
Exactly.
This is why I have this is exactly why I have the people that follow me and they're watching. When I'm looking up at the sky, I want to make sure that, like Jonathan Mitchell, is paying attention to what's around me. And it's also why that's why we all carry one of these things on us. We've all got a firearm.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And we don't carry little bitty ones. We make sure it's big enough to do the job. So we want to make sure that if this thing's not coming at us so friendly and it's trying to kill us or trying to eat us or whatever its problem is, we want to be able to at least have a fighting chance against it. Now, keep in mind, every report, these things are 17 foot tall. So
yeah,
you got to really think about this stuff.
Yeah, they can be pretty big out there. Now, this picture that I have, people that are just listening tonight and not watching, we have a photo of a Bigfoot. It looks like an AI photo. The one in the center is an AI. But
yeah, that's it.
But the massiveness of it is, to me, that's pretty darn close. Like what we usually see when we see like real Bigfoot photos, things like that. Now, the one on the left of it is the recent photos that I started posting on Alien Strand Disclosure Project, and I even put it on Alien Strand there. It seems to have like a dogman kind of look. It's got the face almost looks human in a sense. It looks like a dog, basically like a dog, but with almost a human looking face. Now, the hands in the bottom of it they don't look like paws. They look like hands. It has actually 5 fingers. Now, this one is iffy or Annie. We don't know just yet, but I know that when that AI does a lot of recreations, things like that, when they start doing these photos and recreations of all older photos, things like that, it can't determine the hands yet. So usually you'll see like the hands will stick together, or it doesn't look like a full hand, things like this one actually looks like a full hand that's there on this photo. I mean, it looks pretty genuine to me in a sense. And then you have one on the right that's sent in a blue. This one came out about a week ago. They didn't say on any of these. It doesn't say exactly where these things were located. Right, just kind of in the woodsy areas. Of course, they're not going to be in the middle of the city. But the one on the right seems to be standing almost like a human in a sense. But you can tell the arms are long. Right, it doesn't look very huge, but it's kind of almost there. I mean, what are your thoughts on these kind of images and things that people are actually catching out there in the forest?
I do have my own thoughts on this of to where, like Captain Cook, for instance, when he went down to Easter Island, he went up against these giant red-headed cannibals that were down there. Okay, and the same thing up in Peru. They call them the cloud people. They were giant red-headed cannibals, and those people had just happened to be defeated just before the Spanish made their way.
Right.
Also in Idaho, they have like a coffin with 2 guys standing beside it of this giant red-headed cannibal mummy.
Right.
Now, the story that goes with the ones that were up in Idaho was all of the different tribes came together. They got them chased into a cave, and then they suffocated them to death with smoke from fires that they built at the entrance of this cave. and they wanted to get rid of them because they were eating the different people from the tribes. That's what they ate. Apparently, they were easier to get a hold of than whatever else the game was, or whatever was around them
right.
at the time. But it's always these giant red-headed cannibal-like things, all the way to the story we had told earlier about the Kandahar giant that took out that whole military team, our U.S. forces, and it took a U.S. Special Forces team to come in, and I think they lost one of the gentlemen with them during that search, trying to figure out what happened to a unit.
Right.
They went up and they came to a cave entrance, and this thing threw a spear out, and it got a hold of one of the soldiers with the spear. And I mean, this is all around the world. This is the same story over and over and over.
Right.
We've got, and not all of them are redheads. There's some are brown, some are solid white, which is what we call the abominable snowman. But these things are evident around the world. The stories are the same. The Indians, it's usually the Indians from all over the world that tell these stories. And that's what we keep running across, is we have got to be prepared to actually, at some point here, because there's so much focus on it, at some point here, we're actually going to catch one on camera. We're actually going to get a body. This is about to happen.
Right.
Okay. And we need to be ready for that kind of information when it comes in. Just like the UFOs, at some point, these things are just going to stop and say, you know what? We're here.
Well, we got a video on something that was recent. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but there's a
no, you're fine.
There's a video that just came out. I want you guys to see this, where actually you can see it, but you can hear what's going on in the background, right? So let's go ahead and put that on now, so you guys can actually just kind of tell what's going on in the background. Listen to this guy talk, and just let me know what you think. Let's check this out real quick.
Hey guys. Well, I'm about a mile from the gifting rock right now. Starting to get dusk. It's about 35 degrees out. And I want you to listen to what I'm listening to out here. It's pretty crazy. I'm bow hunting for deer tonight. That's how we feed our family here. We don't buy beef. We harvest venison and we eat that. So, but anyway, I want you to hear this. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can hear a little better. Just a minute. Like I said, I'm quite a long ways away from the gifting rock. So why are we hearing that out here? A mile away. I'm going to try to ask the farmer that owns this property if he's ever heard this sound before. Well, I take that back. Funny story.
And that did not come out on a Bigfoot site, anything like that. This came off of a hunting group that's out there, right? So I want you guys to understand what you were hearing out there, the background, the howls. Now, to me, the howl had like a lot of strength behind it. So it sounded like something huge, something big that was pushing the air. Whatever it was, it's massive, because it's not just a howl. It's like it's like something that's like the octaves are just totally deep and heavy, right? To where it's getting out there. Now, the area to me kind of looks like Tennessee, somewhere in that area. It's possibly that's what we're looking at. I mean, what are your thoughts on that sound, the sounds that he was hearing there in the background?
Well, that's the type of stuff that we listen for when we're up on the top of the volcanoes. We're trying to hear all the different noises. Sometimes we'll hear a bear. Sometimes we'll hear cougars. We've actually been waiting to hear that type of noise because of the location that we're at. when you get up around Todd Lake here in Central Oregon, out on the Cascade Lakes Highway, which is only about maybe 5-10 miles away from where we were at during the petroglyph scene in the movie. There was actually, it's a little prairie that's out in front of the parking area there. A doctor and his wife were out there, and he managed to get like an 8mm film of a Bigfoot that was running across that section. Well, it was walking. Right. And it's one of those where, it's kind of got that canter while it's walking. Almost like it was one of those videos.
Yeah, almost like
I don't think it's the most famous one, but it's just like it.
Okay.
So it's him and his wife were out there. I think they were getting ready to do some fishing and camping and stuff. And he just happened to catch that as it was going across the field, and it found itself deep into the woods again. Of course, I don't think they camped that weekend after they'd seen that move in. That in particular area, I think it's I've been on it a couple different occasions. From time to time, we'll go up in off-road vehicles, and you'll end up there. And that road's 17 miles back way, all the way to it's called Twin Lakes, Three Creeks Lake is the name of what it goes to.
Right.
Three Creeks Lake, and that's right up underneath Broken Top and Middle Sister and North Sister. So you're definitely going literally, the further you go that way, you're going deeper and deeper and deeper into the wilderness. Even though you're going on a straight line, when you're on that road, you feel like you're getting lost, regardless of how many times you've been on that road, because it's 17 miles into the middle of nothing.
Now let's talk about
and then you.
But how about the you see how I was trying to figure out, okay, so we're always looking at the Bigfoot, right? And then people talk about the cryptids, people talk about Dogman, people talk about Chupacabra, people talk about all these kind of creature human-like things, right? And you've heard different stories about it, like, these things are a possessed demon, or they were it was a curse of some sort. We see movies about that all the time. There was some sort of a curse, and they got this information from somewhere, right? So to get this kind of narrative, you always hear that about the dog man, werewolf man, whatever you want to call it, but there is no narrative for Bigfoot. Like, this thing just came out of freaking nowhere. You know what I mean? It's just, right. I mean, the Nephilim, the things like that from Enoch. He talked about these giant creatures, right? They're like men, and so, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like this thing,
like the skinwalker being brought up by the Navajo to like take revenge on the Hopi,
right?
Is what the skinwalker was. But this in particular guy, I believe that what's happened here is this guy was brought up, and kind of shown for people to respect the wilderness, to not go and take more than they need, and be able to stay away from the wilderness as much as possible, so it's not harmed or destroyed.
Right.
So that's probably what the derivative of Sasquatch or Yeti would be, is they're trying to tell you to stay away from this in particular location and leave it untouched, because that's what he does. He doesn't leave any trace. He doesn't. There's a lot of things that fall with the way of the characteristics of this in particular being. You've never seen any remains of this guy. Unless you spent a lot of time out there, you probably wouldn't have seen him anyway, other than what we do on videos and showcasing it.
Right. And so I went to go look at some recent reports, right, on Bigfoot. This was, I'm going to read you this report real quick. This came out of, in year 2023 of August 8th. So this came out of Missouri, right? In Clinton County. Location was in a field roughly about 1 mile southeast of Lathrop rest area, southbound of Interstate 35, roughly 27 miles northeast of Kansas. Now, the nearest town was Holt. That's what it says. So this is what was observed. It says, I was walking my dog outside, and I've been taking a spotlight with me because there's been a lot of coyote activity. I was scanning around with the spotlight about 300 feet in front of me in the clearing in a soybean field. I shined the light past there, and there were two sets of glowing eyes. So I shined it back from the perspective that these eyes were at least 7 feet tall. It says, when I held the light on them, they both hid behind a big brush on the right side of the clearing in this field. I watched it for a while. They kept peeking their eyes out around the bush, so I turned the light off and then back on again. And then I began to looking back at me, and it would hide again. So it says that had me pretty shaken up, so I went about 20 minutes and came back out and walked down there, and I saw them. Where I saw them. He says they were gone. I was still pretty shaken up. I didn't know how close I was to these things, but this is how large this thing stood. So it was the height of this thing that really freaked him out, and because of the glowing eyes, and it was kind of peering behind when he was just flashing the light on and off. Now, I mean, this is probably something that we would probably do. Anybody would probably do if they saw something out there in the woodsy area. And there was an extra witness with him, but they just said that it was gone, and they just kind of freaked out because it just kept on peeking out behind the bush. But it was a large, massive animal or beast, whatever this thing was, and it's great for these reports, man, because this was just in August of 2023 in Missouri.
Yeah.
So we know that there's a lot of activity there in that side, right? I mean, what would your thoughts be if this thing if this was to happen to you in that sense?
New on Curiosity Stream, we've walked with dinosaurs. We've explored our prehistoric planet, and we were always told the same story. Extinction came from the sky. But what if dinosaurs survived? Amazing Dino World 2. Watch it now on Curiosity Stream. With monthly, annual, and bundle plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Come ring in the new year in Denver. Celebrate with parties, champagne toasts, live music, and dazzling fireworks. Catch the firework displays from the 16th Street Mall at both 9 p.m. and midnight. And come check out the incredible Mile High Tree, presented by Xfinity, a free one-of-a-kind lights experience. Enjoy sparkling new adventures for a spectacular new year, only in the Mile High City. Plan your celebration and find great hotel packages at milehighholidays.com/NYE.
If you're a last-minute gift shopper, then Instacart is your holiday rescue app this season. No more tracking packages, no more trips to the post office, and no more Christmas gifts arriving in February. Instead, you can just download Instacart to order gifts like beauty, tech, and gourmet goods from local stores and get them delivered in as fast as 1 hour. Plus, right now, you'll get free delivery on your first 3 orders. This offer is valid for a limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply. Must be 21 plus to purchase alcohol where available.
Well, I would absolutely go and investigate it, but that's me. There's a lot of people that would not do that. I would have no problem with going over and seeing what I'm looking at and trying to identify what I've got. I'd bring my trusty Nikon with me, of course, first. See if I can get some good photos of it. However, when you're out there and you see something that you quite can't explain,
right?
There is a lot of adrenaline that'd be flowing. I think that I would also have a little bit of hesitation to just walk straight up to it.
Right.
However, I would still do that, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that would. There's a lot of people. It's a fight or flight thing. There's a lot of people that would just say, you know what, that's enough for me. I'm gone. Come back tomorrow and pick up my camp. or the next day.
Yeah, exactly. And that can be, it can be pretty intense, right? And it can be kind of scary at times. I know when it's pitch dark, who doesn't do it, man? Sometimes when you're out in the pitch, you're out there by yourself sometimes, and you're in the woods. I've done it. I've been in the woods, and I'm constantly looking behind my back, right? Always looking,
right?
Because you're subconsciously and self-consciously, you freak yourself out sometimes because it's too quiet,
right?
And you just kind of have that feeling like something's watching you sometimes, but you never see anything, and just having these reactions I think is a normal thing as a regular human would do if they saw something this massive, because I would be kind of freaked out if I saw something that huge too, so
right.
And the reason I bring up Bigfoot and these creatures and things like that, because they a lot of people say they connect with UFOs, right? Now, is it a possibility that maybe these things were dropped down here, or sometimes when you see one of these strange creatures like a Bigfoot kind of man walking, and you'll see an actual craft nearby? And I've heard a lot of stories, and I've seen video footage of this, but every time I see it one time, it kind of disappears when I see the footage, right? And it's kind of hard to find it again. Do you have these kind of problems kind of looking for things like that when you're kind of researching yourself?
Well, yeah. See, that's another touching almost on another situation here. I believe that this guy and several other things, like the reptilians, and there's a few other things. I believe that they're all part of the inner earth type creatures that come out to visit and come out to do whatever they're doing while they're here, and then they find themselves back into whatever cave or whatever it is that they've decided to come out of. Or there's also the fact that people have UFO sightings when they see Bigfoot. Just like you were saying a moment ago, that sometimes it's followed by a UFO sighting after they'd seen that. Then all of a sudden they see this after they no longer see that. And it turns into two separate incidents where you might have something that was going down. He could be going down to collect something for whatever's in that craft, and pretty much bigger than anything that's down there that can mess with him. He can stop whatever could harm him. There's a lot of things he can do. So, and then when he goes back and he finds himself back on the craft, and he collected whatever they needed. So it could be just that simple.
In your opinion, I know it's just your opinion, my opinion too, but do you think that what you just said right now, that it's a possibility that they could be doing this, or it could be working for them in a sense?
Correct.
Now, do you think that it's a possibility that this thing has a high level of intelligence? In other words, like we always talk about extraterrestrials, how they're in this different, they're way past us, their intelligence and everything that they have because of their crafts that they built, and yada yada, up and down the whole spectrum of everything, right? So these creatures, if they have the ability to do that, I mean, I've heard of them communicating with some human beings, as well. I'm talking about Bigfoot, with their language and, banging on trees, things like that. In your opinion, do you think that this has, that Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, anything like that, what has some sort of maybe higher intelligence of us in a sense, or do you think it's kind of there with us as far as the intelligent level?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably pretty close to equal intelligence. We're kind of arrogant about the fact that we think that we're the smartest things around. And sometimes, this is a good example. You got a dog that's sitting there, and sometimes it'll look at you and give you that look of, I know what you're up to, or I'll, or you can be getting ready to do something bad to the dog, and I'm like, no, you're not,
Right.
The same thing with cats, same thing with lizards even look at you with the same kind of look. You got to give credit to these animals to the fact that they have the ability to think for themselves, and people don't. People just look at it as like, well, it's an inanimate freaking object. These things have minds of their own. some people won't ride a horse because it can think for itself.
Exactly.
Okay. This is something that we've got to remember. We're not all of get out on intelligence. And otherwise, we'd already know what the hell these craft are, or we'd already know what the hell's further out there. We're still learning, just like a parrot, to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We aren't any smarter than anything else that's on this planet. We're a learning organism that's just like anything else that's learning.
Well,
monkeys, all of it is the same. We are just as smart as anything else.
Exactly. And like I said, I think it was on Joe Rogan. He shows that how these primates, like an orangutan, got a spear and he went to the water. He was fishing. So it learned how to do that, right? So yeah, the conscious level you can actually of an animal or anything other than human can actually be up there, right? Because we, like you said, we get dogs to do this, to do that, to be obedient, to listen. They understand, right? Anything that understands, I think, is the intelligent level is right there, right? So
right.
This we're looking right now at a recent photo that I had posted on Alien Strand Disclosure Project. Came out there in the web. This was a recent photo that somebody took at night. As you can tell by the pixelated background, that it was possibly maybe a cell phone, maybe, because the ISO sometimes it doesn't read very well on digital cameras. You have to have a really good lens in order to do that. Now I know our tiny lenses on our cameras can only do so much, but this actual craft is in a spin, right? So what we're looking at is a nighttime scene. People that are listening out there on audio land, it's a nighttime scene. You see a typical saucer-shaped craft up close, possibly about maybe 30 to 40 feet in diameter, and then it's got lights on top and a light in the center of it, kind of spinning in a circle. So you can tell it's spinning counterclockwise by the way it looks to me. And then they got a night vision shot of it as well. So the thing with that stuck out with this one as well, we have a person, his name is, I think it's John Dickinson, I believe that's his name, on our Alien Strand Disclosure Project.
Yeah, John.
So he said, I don't see any distortions around this craft, this UFO, right? Now, like we've talked about before, sometimes you're going to see the distortion, sometimes you're not. And it's kind of hard to tell because if it's in a slow spin and if it's in a wobble, that means that it's been throttled back, right? The radiation levels, everything has been diminished down to almost
all the intervals,
a minimal, right? So that way you're able to see something like this and grab a photo of this, right? You're not always going to see the electronic magnetic field around this thing, but not necessarily, and I don't want to say it's CGI because or AI, because AI I think would have put it in a more sharper image if it was AI,
right?
And it's not. It's distorted. The image is distorted. Like you can tell there was motion behind this image. So what do you think about that?
Well, that's something that was pointed out a couple of years ago by Jody Gordon. She, we send her off some things to analyze, and she said, well, I don't see any kind of EMF around it. And basically what they're saying is EMF, when you see something that's stationary like this, it's called quantum locking. And what's happening is it creates a what's called a magnetic flux tube basket, which is holding the craft into a quantum locking position.
Right.
And this is what they're doing to observe different things on the ground. For some reason, sometimes we don't see that. We don't see that field. 90% of the time you do. There's a 10 percentile that you just don't see that stuff. If this in particular craft was stationary and not rotating, we probably would have seen that field while it stayed into a locked position.
Right.
Whatever the rotation is that's going on with this craft is most likely what's allowing it to not be seen without that. Now, if we were to take these photos right here, I'm certain if we put them up on, we like to use Pixel is the one that we like to use.
Right.
And we put it up under electromagnetic or atomic, or there's a couple other ones that we use. there's a possibility you see a light magnetic field around these craft, which usually without, if it's got a good strong one, you can see it without using those type of filtration systems.
Right.
But this in particular one, I'm not seeing it either. And I'm willing to bet, however, if we had Annabelle Quiones, or even
Chris Hamill.
Chris Hamill.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm certain that we would see a light magnetic field around that craft, even if just ever so slightly,
right.
Especially because the statement is that these were stationary.
Well, Jody Gordon uses one. I don't know if it's V2 Art. I can't remember which one it was exactly, but
yeah, she likes that gold stuff. She has a filter that puts things out in a gold.
Right, and I was just going to say that gold filter. She says every time I use that gold filter, it doesn't do me wrong. So it's like it grabs me. I know when it's real and I know when it's not. She can already see it and she sees how she does it. But we have an actual we have a video that was floating out there. Now this is going to be kind of hard to see, but it's at nighttime. There was some kind of a lightning storm. You can hear like the thunder in the background. There's a lot of flashes, but you can see this craft in the center of the frame, right? And then towards the end of the frame, you'll see it change into a different color. Now, let's check this out real quick, and then let's just see what you guys think. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, so you can see that at the very end, it turned red. It went from white to straight solid red. So we know it's not any aircraft that we have out there, because if it was, it would have a nav light, red, green, whatever, or red, white, and green. It would give you that strobe. This is a solid object. I mean, now on our film, The Middle Part 2, there's an actual scene in that one when it does come out. You guys are going to see it out there. One of Mr. Ryan Keaton that he had. And he has one during a lightning storm. You can see it dead center in that lightning storm. I mean, compared that to this, I mean, does it look similar to you, Terry?
Yeah, it does. What I'm thinking is when you see this stuff during the lightning storms, what's happening is those craft are charging up with static electricity. Of course, when the Earth rotates and you've got clouds, it creates a static electricity with Earth rotation. The clouds moving in the opposite direction of it's what we call a jet stream.
Right.
The Earth is rotating in the opposite way. And what it's doing is it's creating that friction between the things, between the Earth, where you've got, I believe it's a negative, and the sky that's got the positive, or I might even have that backwards. But what happens is it releases the charge, and it releases the charge from the ground up. Unless, of course, the charges are happening up in the clouds themselves, where there's nothing going on between the ground and the clouds. It's just warm and cold happening up there, and those two are creating this friction. Anyway, I believe that these craft are charging themselves on static electricity as they go over the top of us. When we were out at Hole in the Ground this last week, we after following this craft, they came all the way up from over in the Crook County area up to where we were at Hole in the Ground. after we were done doing the film, because it simply got too cold. We were at 28 degrees.
Right.
So we went back over to our campsite to try and warm up the fire, and we had a heater buddy that was between us. We ended up, first off, we had a V shape of bright red lights that went over the top of us, and we were very interested in that because there was nothing flickering.
Right.
And then we had directly over the top of us, came from over top of Belina Peak, was a blue craft that was the exact color of the blue laser that we were shooting up. And I put an example of this out as a post. And I put it out on ASDP's site so people could see what was going on. I think I put it out on a couple other locations. But I wanted people to see the craft that was above us, and also the blue high-powered laser that we were using. That blue high-powered laser, we were tracking this from about 65 miles away, and we were very capable with this high-powered laser that we had, and we were able to put this laser on each side of this craft, and the craft would stop, in the direction it was going. It didn't want to touch the laser. And then we weren't pointing directly at the craft. We won't do that to any craft, point directly at them. We put it on one side of it, it stopped, and then we put it on, it would start to move away, and we put it on the other side, and it would stop, and then it would start to drop down. We put it underneath it, and it would start to raise up. Well, once it finally started to raise up, it tried to move straight towards us, which again was about 65 miles in distance. And we were able to see this from a long ways off. Now, keep in mind, this whole location is all cattle mutilation location. This is what the sheriff's department is trying to get answers to, as so is U.S. Forestry Enforcement, Bureau of Land Management Enforcement. Sorry, they're the ones that take care of where we're at. Anyway, we were out in that location, and we were getting this thing to interact with us. And I'm sure that there's other people that have the same type of encounter.
Right.
This is what they call the CE5, I believe, where we're actually having an interaction happening with the craft.
Right.
So anyway, so it changes color. They change color just like you just showed a moment ago. That went from a flashing, all of a sudden it turned bright red.
Exactly.
And it stayed red.
Yeah.
So that's what we had. We had something that it went from the orange fire in the sky, it moved along the side of us, and finally when it did come to the side of us, it started flashing almost like it was a aircraft that would be coming from like an airport or something like that, and then it disappeared. And then when it disappeared, it came right up over the top of our camp and whoosh, real big. Oh. And of course, we put the lasers out again, and that's when I was able to start getting a video on it. Yep. And after it sat stationary for a while, I believe it was trying to act like it was a star at this point.
Yeah, I've seen them do that too. When you start doing the laser thing, because I think Danielle Heathcliff, she puts her laser out there, and it reacts with that as well. Now. This I just put this photo out. It's a brand new photo out. This is a brand new Tic Tac. It's kind of like a cigar shaped Tic Tac that it was just recently came out on the web. Now I did put it on Alien Strand.
That's a big one.
Disclosure Project, and I did put it out on Alien Strand as well, and on different groups. Now what we're looking at here is at night. This is a night shot, as you can tell. Somebody's camera actually did a really good job at a distance picking up this craft. It looks like a good, I don't know, maybe mile up in the sky, maybe a little less, maybe a quarter mile or half a mile actually. But once you zoom in and you crop it out, now you can see like there's three or four craft behind it, and then there's one in front of it on the left side of it. So you couldn't really see it until you kind of zoomed in to these other objects that are there, and you can kind of tell by the left photo now that it's zoomed in, you can actually see a distortion around each one of those. Now, if it was a star, it wouldn't have a distortion like that. These actually have little round distortions, electronic magnetic field distortions around it. Now, the large craft, now, if you look at it, it has the 2 dots in the dead center, one on the left side and one on the right side. So we're looking at like a cigar-shaped craft. Now, for this thing to show up in the sky that far away, and you're able to zoom in, now this thing is huge. It's freaking huge.
Yes, it is.
It has to be, man. It has to be at least, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 school buses long, maybe. It's a possibility. But if you notice on this craft, I don't know, if you look at the picture on the left, it has the little bright light on the right side on the right side of the craft and on the left part of the craft. Now, this is the exact same signature. Now, remember those photos that came out in China by the Chinese airport? It was an actual UFO craft that was actually hovering over the houses. It was hovering over everything, and it was actually shining a beam, like a straight line beam over the houses, the general area. They took so many photos of this thing, right? Colored photos, and they were really up close. And looks almost exactly like what I'm looking at here when I'm looking at this photo. Do you see the similarities to what I'm looking at here, Terry?
I do see the similarities. A lot of people will see something like this and immediately try and say, "Oh, that's Starlink." That's not what Starlink looks like at all.
Nope.
That right there is definitely something that's other than ours, and it looks like it has what I would call several drone type craft that go with it, whether or not they're manned by their beings. But it looks like it has several drone type craft that are. Think about it when we put out a stealth bomber or one of our bombers. It's always accompanied by things that are there to help defend it. And I'm assuming that's what's going on here. Is those are the craft that follow that to defend it against anything that might try and mess with it.
Right. Exactly.
So that's another thing that we'll probably end up touching on later. And when you see different types of craft out there, there was one that Tino Gallegos had from down there in the Phoenix, Arizona area.
Right.
He had this picture of a craft that almost looked like something from Star Trek.
It did.
It was only there for a split second, and it was right over the top of the crops that were out there. And he just happened to get a really, really good picture of it. It was a video of this craft. All of a sudden it appears and then it disappeared. And it looked like it had a turret on the top of it, some type of weapon.
Now, speaking of that, right, and the electronic magnetic field signatures that we see, right, that we were talking about earlier, about using our apps that we have, like Pixlr or V2 Art, things like that, anyone that you can catch in different spectrum, right? Now, when we saw that one video of the gimbal video, right, they explained how I mean, you couldn't really see it because it was in black and white, right? That they said that around this craft, it was an actual a box or a square around the craft, right? That was actually it was actually there was a case around it, right? So there was a craft in the center. It was encased in a box that was spinning around, and it would change. Right. So now I do have the video of that. It's a colored video, so that way we can see the actual electronic magnetic field that's around that craft. And this is like the beginning part of the actual gimbal before it actually turns large and they get the really good zoom and then it starts flipping, right? So and this is the beginning part of it. So let's check this out real quick, and that way we can kind of talk about this real quick.
The whole screen of it, look on the inside. Like, they're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Oh, okay, dude. That's not an LNS one, is it? It's not. Oh, yeah, well, it's not an It's an rotate.
if you see the beginning part of that video, it's like a circle, and then it kind of turns into a square. I wish I could have paused it, but if this is while it's playing live, where you can't hear us talk, but you can actually see a cube around this craft that it's encased around, right? So, I know there's different UFOs and UAPs out there, and we always talk about electronic magnetic fields. Now, on that particular one, what do you see? Do you see anything different that I'm seeing, or how this thing is actually, how it's actually going? And it was going, 200 miles an hour? They clocked it at when they actually caught it. It actually slowed itself down for them while they got this on lock.
Well, some of the stuff that I've caught was moving at well over 22 miles a second, which is extremely, extremely fast. And the things that I've caught it on was through things like Google Earth Street Views. And what I've gathered is when you see that gimbal, how it's got that little bottom piece that shoots up underneath.
Right.
I see that as a counterweight. So that tells me that the craft are using counter steering. This is my idea of what's going on and how the craft is operating. Is they use counterweights. They lock in on the ground with that counterweight using the magnetic fields that they've got, which would be magnetic flux tubes that shoot all the way to the Earth's surface, and they throw it down there just like an anchor. And what happens is that craft is able to boom, and it locks in, and it's able to turn like just on a dime using geometry as the way they navigate. So they've got this. They use counter steering, they use counterweights, and they use magnetic flux tubes to lock themselves in. And that whole steering system is what makes them to where they can outmaneuver our aircraft, because these guys, if you've ever followed it before, they'll go out, they'll turn on a dime, right. And now our craft is starting to do this real wide turn, trying to catch up to this thing. And this is where we're having an issue, because we just don't move a geometry. We move, I would like to call it a radius is what we use. We use radius. Even in a car, you got a radius, and when you're in an aircraft, you use radius. The closest thing that you come to using geometry would be a helicopter, okay? Where you can go forward, stop, and turn just sideways, just the same way. However, these things are, again, they get up over a certain altitude in our atmosphere, and they get up there, and they just release the magnetic flux tubes from Earth. They're locked onto the ionosphere above them, and they let the Earth rotate, and bam, they're gone, 1,000 miles an hour right now. They're gone.
And I brought up a photo right now. This is a 1933. 1933. You hear the date?
Yeah, that looks like Nikola Tesla's drawing.
This was in Italy. An Italian drawing of an actual UFO, which looks like a UFO craft to me. It's pretty much saying it's a UFO craft of a flying saucer. So it's saying that it's Acorn Taurus, and it's an actual sketch drawing. And they kind of put it together like, the only reason I brought this photo up is because the video we just saw of this craft, and it's got a case of this flux basket around it. This is actually giving you the exact same drawing, right, of what you just saw. Now this was
3-point cushion.
This was written out in 1933. Now our Roswell crash was what, 1947?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was basically, 10, 12 years prior to that. And this person had already had something figured out. Why?
Right.
I mean,
Nikola Tesla had basically the same exact drawing going. He had the plans drawn out of one and how the craft would work. This looks almost identical to what he did. To me.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say here is,
and the same time frame, by the way.
I'm questioning this. I'm questioning everything, right? I question everything. So that's me. I'm the questioner guy. How could they have this already in their thought process of having an actual drawing of an actual UFO if they hadn't seen one, or one hadn't been landed there, or they were in close contact with extraterrestrials prior to that Roswell crash?
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
I'm Margot Robbie, and I play Barbie.
And I'm Ryan Gosling, and I play Ken.
Max is now the exclusive streaming home of Barbie.
So cool.
And the Max with Ads plan is included with your Cricket $60 unlimited plan at no additional cost. Log in with your Cricket username and password to experience Max on all your favorite devices.
This is the best day ever.
It is the best day ever.
Don't miss Barbie, now streaming on Max. Phone plan streams in standard definition. Programming subject to change. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Every day, my company gets scam phishing emails trying to get money or sensitive info. I wanted to protect my employees and my clients, so I checked out CISA's Secure Our World. They've got simple ways we can protect our businesses from online threats. First, teach employees to recognize and report phishing. Next, require strong passwords plus multi-factor authentication. And finally, turn on automatic updates for your business software. To learn more, go to CISA at cisa.gov/Secure Our World.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
I do have a thought on that. Okay, so my imagination kind of went wild after I had my eye-to-eye contact. Mm-hmm. And I kind of already had an idea after I'd seen the craft in front of me on how things worked with them. It was like all of a sudden everything, all these things just started making sense. And I'm willing to bet this individual, from what I'm looking at, the individual that had drawn this most likely had an eye-to-eye contact event with whoever was on one of these craft, or possibly out in the field. It seems like this information transfers.
Right.
Okay. So whoever probably drew that, I'm certain that there's a backstory somewhere where they may have been out in the field, or in my case, I was in the middle of a big city when I saw what I saw. Here I am with all this wilderness around me, and my event took place in the city that just happened to be in the middle of all that wilderness.
Right.
So it could happen anywhere. I mean, you could be at the top of a building in New York City. You could be out in Bend, Oregon, which is what my case was, or you could be like Nikolai Tesla, who made it a point to go to Colorado. He found a spot in Colorado where he was able to do all the experimentation that he needed to do without being interfered with. And I believe he was in contact with this type of thing. And then he also drew up the same exact type of craft. These are things that most people that's had some type of contact would tell you that this is exactly how it looks and probably how it works. I feel that whenever you see something like that, I've mentioned this more than one occasion. You see how it's got 3 points lit up in blue?
Yes.
Okay, so that's telling me that this is doing the 3 points of cushion, and that's the magnetic flux tubes. Right. Okay, that's also creating the basket that goes around the craft, but at the same time, it's got the 3 points of cushion. And what happens is the craft will tilt, right? When it's moving along, you always see it tilted in the direction it's going.
Right.
And what's happening is the craft is on these 3 points of cushion. It creates this point to where the craft is actually falling into its own pathway. And the more it's tilted, the faster it kind of falls into its own pathway. However, when it really wants to pick up speed, again, I said the D1 sharp hypothesis, which is my hypothesis, what it does is it shoots the D1 sharp down onto the earth through the magnetic flux tubes, and when it wants to move faster, it picks up the intervals of D1 sharp and it moves faster, kind of like a footprint as it's moving along.
Right.
And if you pick up the intervals, it moves a lot faster. And what that is D1 sharp being the I want to call it magnetic repulsion, not it's a propulsion system of repulsion.
Right.
It's pushing. Okay, so it's a repulsion system, and when you pick up the intervals, you turn it up, and it turns into a louder hum versus to
Right.
It changes, and as it changes, the sooner it changes, the faster the craft will go. You can have it to where it's tilting straight flat, and when the craft is flat, that means the craft is going to go up real fast.
Right.
And we've seen that in several videos where the craft just and then disappears straight up. Or sometimes you'll see the craft just disappear off this direction or that direction. And what it's doing is every time it gets ready to go whatever direction it is, you'll see it tilt towards that direction, and it's gone.
Well, let's show one of that has actual momentum. Now, I love this.
Okay.
I love this video, and you do too. And it's in our movie. So this is one of Jody Gordon that she shot. I just can't get enough of it.
Is it the spinning one?
Yeah.
The one that's going up through the clouds spinning? Yeah, that's amazing.
This one's going to have motion to it. Now, if you've never seen this video, go and watch our movie, The Middle, the whole story. But you're going to get an actual longer visual of it right here. So let me go ahead and show that real quick. So the guy that did that, I guess he was just trying to put it on his site or whatever. So he put his name on it, but it's not his. We already know who it belongs to. But
yeah, we know exactly who that is. I remember where she got that. I remember where she got that. She said, "I've never seen one turn like that before."
Yeah. When I was like I said, when she first sent that to me, I was like, "What?" I didn't expect to see that. I was just going to expect to see a little speck go across the sky or something. And then, yeah, she shot it with one of those. I think hers was a P900.
She shot it with a P1000 Nikon. Nikon, did you hear that?
Yep.
I bet you know where I'm going with this.
Exactly.
Nikon, you need to make sure that you put us all involved with this stuff, that we all have our Nikons. Nikon P1000, let me get myself situated here. Nikon P1000 is the premier camera for this ufology thing. The other camera would be a Sony with a really good processor, but the Nikon P1000 will get you 3,000 millimeters out, and you can do things just like that. In particular, scene that you just seen right there was shot with a P1000 from Jody Gordon. She was in Colorado when she did that. She now lives down in Arizona.
Yep.
Thank you, Jody Gordon, for wonderful footage.
Oh yeah, she's got a lot more too. She's very like, I'm not a ufologist. We're all like, yes, you are, girl. Stop that. But
Jody, I'm a ufologist, and you're my teacher. You are a ufologist.
And I talk to her daily. I talk to her like maybe every other day or something. But in some messaging, and it's like she's getting back into it. She fell out of it for about a year or so. I think she was kind of getting a little burned out with it. It happens, man, and this happens to everybody that gets involved with ufology. Once you start, I always say this: once you see it, you can't unsee it. But at the same time, you get locked in so hard in ufology and extraterrestrial sightings and abductions and just contacts, and that you can't get yourself out of it sometimes. You know, it starts to consume you a little bit. Now, Anibal does take a break from it sometimes. Ryan Keaton.
Oh yeah, we all do.
We all take breaks. We all stop for a little bit. I stopped actually for like 3 days, I think. This past.
I think it was about an hour for me, but I did stop.
Well, you know, for this Thanksgiving weekend, I was like, you know what? I wasn't on my computer for like 3 days. I was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and just do whatever and chill out for a bit. But you know, you have to, so that way you can do a reset. You know, because it does consume you. Now it consumed her for a little bit, but now she's starting to actually get back into it, and we hope that she gets us some more footage out there, especially out there in the Sedona, Arizona area. I know she's around close by there. What is that? Flagstaff, right? Is it Flagstaff? Yeah, she's by Flagstaff.
Yeah, she's right around Flagstaff. She's just underneath it, probably 50, 60 miles away from Prescott, Arizona. And you got to pronounce it right. You can't say Prescott. You have to say Prescott. Otherwise, the people from Prescott will get mad at you.
Yeah. I guess.
She lives down there. She rides all the horse trails. That's what she does. She's a horseback rider. She's one of those people that swears up and down that she's not a ufologist. And quite frankly, if you weren't, you wouldn't stop teaching people like me how to be one.
Exactly.
So between her. Annabelle Quiones and Tino Gallegos, you get this product.
That's right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed it. We're closing out already. I hope everybody enjoyed tonight's show. We got to give you some little information, some new UFOs. You got to hear some Bigfoot howls in the background. You know, we talked a little bit about Bigfoot and, you know, other mystical creatures out there. You know, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Next podcast, we're actually going to get into some paranormal. I'm going to bring out some more paranormal stuff because we do that as well. And I know you guys want to chime in on paranormal because it is a big thing too, as we do. Now, we just don't do UFOs. We do everything of the unknown. So, Terry, thank you for chiming in today. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the film. You know, it is on YouTube now. You know, you shared the hell out of it out there. You got in trouble for it, but it's okay.
Every time.
But, you know, it was an amazing story. Everybody's loving it. If you watch it on YouTube, it's free right now on YouTube. We'll have it up there for a short time. Check it out. Give us a thumbs up. So hit us a subscribe button there on our YouTube page on Alien Strand, so that way you guys can see more content. But, Terry, thank you for being a part of the show today. I appreciate you, brother. And I hope you had a really nice Thanksgiving, man.
I did. And, hey, you know what? I want to remind everybody that disclosure starts with your story and respect. Come see us at ASTP, and we will listen to your story. We'll respect your story. And if you feel the desire to come join up with us, well, we might just make you into somebody that's an association to ASTP. Everybody, I hope you have a wonderful night and a great Thanksgiving weekend.
Right on. Well, all right, brother. We'll catch up here shortly. Hang around in the background, and we'll chat a little bit more because that's what we do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Ryan Keaton, David Aleph. We have Facebook users out there. Everybody's watching tonight. We even had Michael Beavers from UFOs over UFO. Go to his Facebook. Give him a like and subscribe as well, and on his YouTube as well. He did do a review on the movie The Middle Part 2. He was able to see it before everybody else did. Just a pre-screening. Only a certain people got to watch it. It is coming out soon. So be on the lookout for The Middle Part 2. But remember, we're on 26, 27 platforms here on audio podcasts. You can even ask Alexa to play you some Alien Strand podcasts. You know what? Google. Go to your Google and say, The Middle, Cascadia Guides, and type that in. Type in Donald Ledesma. Type in Terry Lynch. I guarantee you on Google, you're going to see our beautiful faces on there. And because of this awesome, amazing documentary that we made. And the second one is going to blow you away. Guaranteed. So I hope you guys, that's going to be coming out soon. I'll let you guys know when that film is out on Amazon Prime. Once the second one is out, please watch the first one. You have to watch the first one, man. Go watch the first one before you watch the second one. Once the second one comes out, you're going to see 2 more after that. All right. So we're going to be busy for the rest of the year of 2023, 2024. So thank you guys for just sticking around today, hearing us ramble a little bit, talk about Bigfoot, talk about everything. Really appreciate all you guys tonight that chimed in on live as we are right now. We're live on Spreaker as well on the audio side. And I know you guys are probably driving late at night with your families. Be safe out there. Be careful. I know it's a busy holiday weekend when you come back tomorrow or tonight. Be safe on the road. Keep your eyes in the skies as well. But if you see something, pull over on the side of the road. Get out of the way from all the other traffic. You know, if you have to stand outside, you know, take your photo, take your picture. Don't do it from inside the vehicles because we're going to get smears, smudges, and reflections from your dashboard. And that really is crappy when we try to figure that out, man. But we love what you guys are doing. Thank you guys for sticking around and hearing me ramble a little bit. But, you know, just thank you for being here today. We appreciate each and one of you. Remember, everything on these podcasts, I do post links to everything on the audio and on the video when you see it on YouTube and on the other pages that you watch, all right? So until then, you guys have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good evening. And have yourselves a good night.
I believe it was 5 separate craft. That's some straight UFO shit right there.
That's when I started seeing all of the lights and the contact that I've been witnessing.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.